Is your brain feeling good today, or is something a little off? Well, I'm here to talk to you about 6 signs of dementia that you should always keep in mind. Did you know that over 55 million people around the world have dementia? It's actually the main reason why older folks have disabilities and need to depend on others. Sadly, it's also the 7th biggest cause of death worldwide. Now you might be thinking, oh, I'm too young for that. But guess what? Changes in your brain can start happening years and years before you even notice any problems. So it's super important to pay attention, okay? I'm going to break this video down into 3 parts. First, we'll talk about those sneaky early signs of dementia that most people don't even realize are a big deal. Then, we'll dive into the 10 classic signs of dementia. Maybe that forgetfulness you've been experiencing is one of them. And finally, I'll give you some awesome tips on how to prevent dementia in the future, or at least slow it down if it does happen. Oh, and I'll also fill you in on the latest discoveries scientists have made. There's actually a lot of hope for the future, and we might be closer than ever to beating this awful disease. So if you or someone in your family is dealing with memory loss, stick around and watch the whole video. But before we get started, do me a favor and hit that like button. The more likes this video gets, the more YouTube will share it with people who really need this information, especially those who can't easily see a doctor. And don't forget to share this video with your friends and family too. Let me know in the comments, have you been forgetting things lately? Do you know someone with dementia? Where are you watching from? Tell me everything! And the #1 early sign of dementia? Having trouble finding the right words? You might be talking to someone and notice that they're struggling to say what they mean. I see this all the time in my office. Sometimes people will use a word that's kind of close but not quite right, like saying blouse instead of jacket. Doctors call this aphasia, and it was actually one of the first things Bruce Willis showed signs of. This can also affect people's ability to remember names, even of people they know really well. The sooner you catch dementia, the better chance you have of treating it and slowing it down, which can make a huge difference in someone's quality of life. Okay, so now you know the early signs. Let's talk about some more obvious signs of dementia. Here are 10 to watch out for. Number 10. Problems with short-term memory. Someone might remember things from way back in the past, like World War II, but not be able to remember what they ate for breakfast. They might also have trouble with abstract thinking or understanding numbers and symbols. Number 9. Trouble following conversations. Remember how we talked about people forgetting words? Well, as dementia gets worse, they might have a hard time keeping up with what people are saying because they can't remember what was just said. They might interrupt a lot or have trouble answering questions. Number 8. Changes in mood or behavior. Someone who used to be super loving might get irritated easily, or someone who is always cheerful might seem down in the dumps all the time. They might also get more agitated or act impulsively. Their personality might even seem to change, and they might become more suspicious or scared. Number 7. Trouble making decisions. Simple decisions might become really difficult, or they might make bad choices that could put them in danger, like leaving home without telling anyone, getting lost, or leaving the stove on. Number 6. Losing track of time. They might forget what day it is, what year it is, miss appointments, or get mixed up about their daily routine. Number 5. Asking the same questions over and over again, even if you've already answered them. This happens because dementia makes it hard to remember things that just happened. Number 4. Getting disoriented or lost, even in places they know well, like their own neighborhood or even their own house. Number 3. Putting things in weird places. Everyone loses their keys or wallet sometimes, but someone with dementia might put things in really strange places, like a phone in the fridge or a watch in the sugar bowl. Number 2. Hallucinations. As dementia gets worse, people might start seeing, hearing, smelling, feeling, or tasting things that aren't really there. And the number 1 sign, losing control of their bladder or bowels. This can happen because they can't tell when they need to go to the bathroom or can't remember how to get there in time. Of course, when dementia gets really bad, people might not even know who they are anymore, lose track of time completely, become aggressive, not recognize their loved ones, and have trouble walking. So, What causes dementia in the first place? Well, there's a genetic component, meaning it can run in families, but that's not the whole story. The things you do, the food you eat, and the environment you live in all play a big role. For example, head injuries can increase your risk, as can having a stroke. In fact, a recent study found that over 60% of people who had a stroke had noticeable problems with thinking within a year. Chronic infections like HIV can also increase your risk, as can problems with blood flow, like clogged arteries. And things like drinking too much alcohol, using drugs, eating a lot of processed foods, and not getting enough vitamins like B1 and B12 can all contribute. So there are lots of different things that can cause dementia. Now, the big question, can you prevent dementia? The answer is a resounding yes. A study in Finland found that eating right, staying active, and doing brain exercises helped a group of over 1,200 older adults stay sharp and avoid dementia. So, how do you do that? First, build up your cognitive reserve. What's that? It's like a mental savings account that you build up throughout your life by learning new things and challenging your brain. Think about it like this. The more money you have in your savings account, the less likely you are to run out, right? It's the same with your brain. The more you learn and challenge yourself, the better your brain can function, even if some of those brain cells start to die off. There was a fascinating study of nuns that showed this. These nuns, aged 75 to 107, agreed to donate their brains to science after they died. The researchers looked at their diaries and gave them thinking tests while they were alive. Most of the nuns who had signs of Alzheimer's in their brains actually didn't show any symptoms while they were alive. And guess what? The nuns who stayed sharp were the ones who had written about doing more mentally stimulating activities when they were younger. So keep learning and challenging yourself throughout your life. Second, get moving. Physical activity is awesome for your heart, your blood flow, and your brain. Remember, what's good for your heart is good for your brain, and vice versa. Exercise helps you relax, boosts your mood, and even helps your brain grow new cells. You can do low-impact stuff like walking, biking, or swimming, but don't forget about strength training too. Lifting weights is super important for those brain cells. Exercise is one of the best weapons we have against dementia, so get out there and move. Third, if you smoke, quit. Smoking is terrible for your lungs, your blood vessels, and your brain. It also increases your risk of heart attack and stroke, which can lead to dementia. Fourth, keep your blood pressure and cholesterol under control. High blood pressure and clogged arteries are both bad news for your brain. And if you're taking statins to lower your cholesterol, that's great. They can actually reduce your risk of dementia by 15%. Fifth, if you're overweight, try to lose some weight. Extra fat, especially around your middle, causes inflammation throughout your body, and that can increase your risk of dementia. It can also lead to sleep apnea and snoring, which mess with your sleep quality. Sixth, if you have diabetes or prediabetes, it's important to get that under control. Scientists sometimes call Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes because they've found that people with Alzheimer's have problems with how their brain uses sugar. Having type 2 diabetes makes you 3 times more likely to develop Alzheimer's. It seems like insulin resistance, which is when your body doesn't respond to insulin properly, plays a big role in memory loss. There have even been studies where they sprayed insulin directly into the noses of people with Alzheimer's, and it helped their memory and thinking. So keeping your blood sugar in check is crucial. Seventh, make sure you're getting enough sleep. Remember how we talked about sleep problems being a sign of dementia? Well, it turns out that not getting enough sleep can actually make dementia worse. Researchers at the University of Rochester found that when you're in deep sleep, your brain does a kind of house cleaning and gets rid of waste products, including those harmful proteins that build up in Alzheimer's. If you don't get enough deep sleep, your brain can't clean itself properly, and those harmful proteins start to pile up. Studies have shown that people who consistently sleep less than 7 hours a night for years and years have way more of those harmful proteins in their brains than people who sleep 7 to 9 hours. And finally, number 8, eat a brain-healthy diet. The Mediterranean diet, which includes lots of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and healthy fats, is great for your brain. There's also a variation called the Mind diet, which is similar, but focuses even more on foods like leafy greens, berries, nuts, olive oil, and fish. And guess what? The ketogenic diet, which is very low in carbs and high in fat, might also be beneficial for your brain. When you're in ketosis, your brain starts using ketones for fuel instead of just glucose. It's like having a hybrid car for your brain. One study showed that the ketogenic diet helped improve memory and thinking in people with mild cognitive impairment and early Alzheimer's. So, what's new in the world of Alzheimer's treatment? Why are scientists so hopeful these days? Well, for over 20 years, there weren't any new drugs for dementia, but in the past 6 months, 2 promising drugs have come out, lecanemab and donanemab. Both of these drugs target those harmful amyloid proteins we talked about. They're like little superheroes that help your immune system clear out those bad guys. And in studies, both drugs helped improve people's quality of life and slowed down memory and thinking problems. They're expensive right now, but who knows what the future holds? Maybe one day they'll be available for everyone who needs them. Did you like this video? Don't forget to share it with everyone you know so we can spread this important information. And be sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any future videos. Thanks for watching.